Hey guys, welcome back to Brian's Train Room. The print department at Lionel was a very busy place, doing everything from catalogs, instruction sheets, and promotional items such as this little mask that was available in 1956. Boo. That said, one of the interesting items that has come out of the archives or some of the paperwork found from the art department are things which are called progressive proofs. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to show you today some progressive proofs of one of the promotional items that they were working on at the time. And that is coming your way.
On the night before Christmas, what do boys dream of? No visions of sugar plums for today's kids. They've got a one-track mind. Visions of Lionel Trains, highballing around the track with all the extra speed and extra power of Lionel's exclusive Magnatraction.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the progressive printing proofs that I have, but before we do, kind of a little bit of a setup of kind of what Lionel used all this for. So this is an example of the little mask that came out in 1956, and a little Halloween mask. Is really super cool. There's a little short on it that just shows the poster for it. That said, this was printed differently than you would print something today. If you wanted to print this, you basically just put it up on the computer, your printer just prints everything from top to bottom, all in full color, and voila, you're done. Well, things were a little bit different back in the late 50s, and they used what's called offset color printing. Okay, and so the first, very similar, the way that it works is sort of very similar in function to what you're seeing here, which this is actually from Midge Toy, okay, which made die-cast things, and you might be familiar with, they did make something for Lionel. But basically, this is sort of a printer's proof in a way, or a mechanical for one of the pieces they were going to make. And basically, the idea with it is you essentially have two colors, and they were wanting to make sure that they had the color separation. You can see the yellow underneath, and then the black, how it would be printed to be able to make the final product, okay? So what they would do is once they had that, then they would go to print. Now when they printed, what they would do is they would print each color individually, which is what we're going to show you, and make sure that everything lined up perfectly so that you got the image that you wanted, okay? And so what happens if that image isn't correct? Well, a couple things. This right here is an example of when something went awry with the printing process, okay? I love factory errors or oddball stuff. This is an example of the little trading cards that were available 1960, 61-ish or so, okay? And this one is properly printed for the Lionel Western Pacific, and you've got the yellow, the black, and then you had the orange that was printed. Notice this card is missing something. What's it missing? It's missing the orange, okay, which would have been the last color that would have been applied over the yellow, then the black, and then you would have gotten the orange here too. So again, that offset printing was missing a part of it, or it didn't get printed, and then you get errors like this. Okay, the other error that can occur with offset printing is what you'll see here with a factory error sheet of the miniature billboards, okay? Notice how the color registration is off on all these pieces. The best one, and probably the easiest one to see, is this one here with the America's Big Three, the Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, and Silver Springs. You notice how the colors are, everything's off. The yellow, I think, is actually right, but all the other colors, the blue and the red, were all actually off center, and so that's why none of this looks right. It kind of looks like you're looking at 3D images. Notice the Baby Ruth, the yellow is the register, but everything was a little bit off on this. That's what happens. So that's the reason why they have these proofs as well, is that so throughout the process they can check the register against the original proofs and to make sure that everything's lining up the way it's supposed to. Let's take a little peek at them. So what I'm going to be showing you today is part of what's called a color progression proofs, okay, or progressives, or what's, I guess, in the industry considered progs, which all kind of makes sense. So, but this is part of that offset printing. And what we're going to eventually have an image of is actually the topper for a dealer display, the D186, which is also known as the wedding cake display from 1957. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more of that near the end. So the first page that we're looking at, or first piece that we're looking at, is the yellow. So typically a set of color proofs include yellow alone, magenta alone, sometimes a combination of both, magenta alone, cyan alone, maybe a couple different colors, maybe the black by itself, and then a final which has everything on it, depending on the number of colors that are used. Okay, certainly if there's only a two color, you only have the two colors as part of the proof, but when you have a multicolor like this, you'll have all those different colors. Notice this is the yellow. It gives sort of the outline around it. You can see some of the hair of the image, which is going to be of Happy the Lion. And so we're going to take a little peek at that. But you notice they also have these little crosshairs. Again, these are used to make sure everything gets lined up in the final printing process. Okay, so this is the first sheet comes through, it gets pressed, and you get the yellow. Someone looks at it, make sure that it pressed properly and evenly and the way that they wanted it, and they say, well, let's take a look at the next one and see how it lines up. And this is the next one. Now this is the next proof that now has the blue applied. So they would have ran it through the first time, gotten the yellow, and then they would have ran it through and said, well, how does the blue line up? Notice right here, our little crosshairs are close, not quite perfect, but very close. So they may have made a little adjustment to get those to line up just right. Down here, they line up well here, but if you get all three or close enough, then you've matched yourself up in different planes to make sure that you're getting this printing the way it was intended to be printed. Notice now we can start seeing the hat starting to take shape, the nose and the eyes, and these little things right here. Remember, he's got a little handkerchief. These are the little blue squares that are in the handkerchief. Really cool. Now we're moving a little further along, and now we've added the red. So same thing. So now yellow's run through, a blue has run through, and now we printed the red. Now the red, of course, you've got the L for the hat, you've got his mouth open, and now you've got more of the handkerchief that goes around his neck. So this is really cool, and you can see again all the pluses and the lines are beginning to line up, and they could have tweaked it a little bit too, just to make sure that the machine will be set upon printing. So now this is about to run through, and we're getting to this stage, and so far everything's lining up very nicely. All right. And then the next proof, printer's proof piece that we have, we're almost there. You can see that, okay, yellow's been done, okay? Then the blue, and then the red, and then we kind of get like a brown, okay? All right, so now the brown sort of fills in some of the lion's sort of face around the ears and down here, and also a little bit around the edges to give a little bit of depth to the circle part of it here. We're checking our sort of crosshairs. Everything seems to be lining up within a margin of error, and it's looking good. You can see it starting to take shape. Again, as every progressive picture and color starts to come through. This is so cool. Love this. This is absolutely fantastic. And this is all, again, part of the process that Lionel used for everything that they printed that was multiple colors. And then the final is here. And this is absolutely gorgeous, okay? This is the printer's proof for the topper for the D186, and in all fillings, what they finally finished is the black. And the black, of course, sort of outlines the hat, kind of adds that last layer to his mane. You've got where it outlines the handkerchief, and you say, and gives definition to the eyes, the nose, and actually you can finally see his teeth. Look at that. Love teeth. Anyway, so all's well. This is really cool. And again, this is Happy the Lion for the 1957 dealer display D186. Now, when did all these come from, or when were these made? Well, the instruction sheet for the D186, by the way, is dated 4 of 1957. I imagine somewhere around that time is when Lionel Print, our art department, was going through this process in the process of making that topper. This is absolutely fantastic, and glad I was able to share it with you guys. All right, that was fun. Appreciate you watching my video. If you like what you see, hey, give me a big thumbs up. If you want to see more, hey, please subscribe. We also have a comment section down below. I want to hear from you. Let me know how I'm doing and how I can make these better. You know, I don't do this alone. I do have a number of friends and fellow collectors who have shared their collections with me to make these fun videos for you guys too. At the end, I've got a nice list of those individuals who've helped me out. I cannot thank them enough. Well, that was it for today. Hey, thanks for joining me on Brian's Train Room.
Lionel Express, all aboard. Look at her streak along the rails. It's a Lionel.